Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the Live Train Form podcast. I'm your host, Sean Kober. This is the second episode of 2022. Hope everyone enjoyed last week's episode, which was my best of Coach's Corner episodes. In this episode, I'm going through my best of my Client Corner episodes where I've had discussions, coaching calls with my online clients, and they've actually allowed me to record these conversations so I can share with you guys. So I'm speaking with three of my clients that I've had over the course of the last year. Damien Gilbert, who is a veteran of the US military, was blown up in Iraq, dealt with some PTSD, anxiety, depression, lost a couple of his mates to suicide, lost a couple of his mates on that deployment. And last year he actually lost his father to COVID. So we had a great conversation around the tools that he's implemented, the principles that I've taught him, how he's tweaked and adjusted those things, and how important mindset is to allowing you to live your best life. All right, let's get this episode underway.
I've got a good job at the moment. You know, I had just gotten Officer of the Month at the police department. So I was a cocky asshole, man. And it just hits you. You're sitting down one day and you break down crying and you have an episode because you're drunk and you miss your buddies and somebody else commits suicide and somebody else does this. So I would tell her all these things. And she told me, she's like, look, you know what you need to do? You need to replay those conversations that we've had about Gonzo passing and about your other friends, you know, committing suicide. You need to hear yourself. You pay attention to what you're saying. And you need to be alone.
How you're saying it.
Exactly. And you need to be alone. How you say it, how you think, when you say things are important. And be alone. Don't depend on nobody. The moment you learn how to be by yourself and be happy by yourself and you work on yourself is the moment that somebody else comes into your life, not to give you happiness, but to add on to that bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, we're doing this shit together, man. Fuck yeah. You don't complete me. I don't complete you. Fuck no. You're your own woman. I'm my own man. We've both been through the ringer. Life has put us in a way here now. What good was I doing to people around me? Just not girlfriends, but friends in general. If I was always thinking about myself. If I don't always pull out the whole, oh, my friend died card. Oh, my feet. Oh, my feet hurt. Oh, I can't run. I can't walk. My feet hurt. I need to go home. And the police department, I did it a few times. Like, hey, my feet are purple as fuck. I will get holes in them. They'll get yellow. I said, I got to go home. Instead of just sucking it up, it's not going to change. I'm always going to be in pain. So the therapist, man, throughout the years, she's told me, she goes, you know what? You look happy, man. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, we've been working together. I had a conversation with her on the phone due to COVID. She asked me on the phone. I was like, let's do it on the phone. She goes, you sound happy, Mr. Gilbert. I'm glad. I told her, I said, well, man, this is going on. This is going on at work. You know, my father was still alive. I have not talked to her since he passed. I was like, I'm in a good mental state. I'm working with a buddy of mine. He's helping with my fitness, my overall health. It's doing well. I'm back in school. I finished school here in July, which I hate, but you know, I gotta get it done. And she's saying, she goes, why do you think that is? So I told her, I was like, hey, you were right. I was trying to fill up a big hole in me that with the company of others that will always make me want to be with them, but not in a healthy way because they're not me. They haven't experienced what I've experienced. So I started working on me, started doing what you told me, started doing what my boy Sean's telling me, started doing all these little things, man, and keeping in touch with people that I want to keep in touch with. So she was so happy, man. She's glad that I've never been medicated on antidepressants. Well, I did once when I got out, but I dropped them. And so she's happy that I take the more natural way on things, on recuperating, on talking to people about how my body works. You know, what's stretching, what do I do? Because when you do all those things, man, for somebody that's known me when I was 22, when I first got out of the Army, to now, and for her to tell me in 10 years, this is the first time she notices a change in my voice, she notices a change in how I say things. And what I tell her, how I tell her, she goes, it's fucking great, man. You are not the only one, but there's people out there that still do this. And so if you fight your traumas, your inner demons, you know, the bad thoughts, the alcohol, man. You learn how to live in moderation. You can live a good life. You don't have to be rich, and that helps. Talking to someone, therapy helps, man. Fitness helps. Your mental health, it's like you said, it's the most important thing. You see others, and you change your view on others. You don't look at other people as weak. You don't look at other people as, oh, you fucking whining bitch. Sometimes I do at work, but
sometimes they deserve it.
Yeah, it's just minimal stuff. But then you also realize, man, maybe this is a traumatic event for this guy. Who knows? So you learn how to be a little more fair and neutral to what goes on around you, and you put that military mindset aside, but you use it to your advantage. You're disciplined. You seek for help. You're humble, man. That shit humbles you. Man, most people will put a bunch of veterans that stay in shape and do this in a room, and they think they're some arrogant motherfuckers. 100%, bro. Because it reflects on their insecurities. If you're a secure person and you accept your bad shit and you're working on your mental health and you're working on your fitness, if I see somebody else that's fit, that's got proper posture, man, that when he talks, he looks at you in the eyes and he shakes your hand, it's firm, I'm not thinking he's a cocky dude. I'm thinking, man, this motherfucker's a stand-up guy, and I'm going to hang around this bitch.
This motherfucker is comfortable in his own skin. He fucking knows who he is. He understands what his values are, and he knows the sort of people he wants around him.
100%, bro. Men or women, Yeah. I've met a lot of women that are super, super sure of themselves. I've been through a lot of bullshit, man, but they're strong fucking women. And I would rather
attractive,
work out.
Bro.
Yeah, I would rather if you see somebody like that around you, you're like, man, that's my fucking woman, bro. Like nothing's been given. And if it has been given, she's earned that shit. And she understands that it is a confidence thing. It's not being arrogant. It's being confident. It's understanding that life can be really shitty, but it can be beautiful, man. And most of the time it's fucking beautiful. It puts heaps of people around you that just make you want to be a better version of yourself. You meet that one fucking girl that, damn, girl, you squat more than me? So it's fucking dope, bro,
Yeah, that's sick, man. Something I want to start winding up the episode with is something that you've mentioned numerous times was the mindfulness and managing your thoughts, because at the end of the day, man, everyone fucking turns their lights off and they go to bed. And it doesn't matter what you have in your life, material bullshit, doesn't matter how big your fucking house is, how many cars you have, whether you have a swimming pool, how big your family is, how much money's in your bank, fucking blah, your portfolio, blah. None of that shit matters. The only thing that you're fucking left with is your own thoughts. Right?
Bro.
Are those thoughts serving you, or are they sabotaging you? Now you've mentioned numerous times that you're not a robot. You go through these emotions, and emotions are just that. They're fleeting. They come and go, right? So the whole idea of mindfulness is being able to take note of these emotions and then let them pass. Don't attach any meaning to different feelings. Okay. And then you take that, pragmatic approach where you go, all right, all of these things came up. I meditated for 10 minutes or whatever. I didn't dwell on anything. All these thoughts came through my mind. I didn't attach any meaning to them. I let them pass. And then you reflect on that. And we'll talk about an AAR in a moment. We reflect on that. And then we decide what we're going to act upon. And we decide what we ignore. And, I think that's really fucking powerful, man. What's your experience been with that? And how has that changed your mindset?
Before we linked up, I like to think that I have my shit together and my thoughts will come up, and they'll come up randomly, right? And man, there were some dark fucking thoughts, bro. But I knew how to shut them off. I just go to sleep, dude. You just close your eyes. Just pop a melatonin or 2 or 3. See what happens.
And
hey, man, whatever was available to feel good a little bit. And, I started thinking that I will wake up super anxious. I will wake up and the first thing I would do is look at my phone because I didn't want to miss something from someone. Or another one of my friends committed suicide. That shit sucks, bro. When they call you and say, hey, one of the boys, fucked himself. You're like, fuck. Why didn't he call me? Maybe I was asleep. Let me not sleep. then you think, man, am I okay? Am I gonna one day fucking look at my Glock and say, you know what, bro? Join him. You know what I mean? You start, you fuck, your mind will fuck with you. But your surroundings are important, I believe, and the pillars that you have of life and friendship's something that we take care of. We take for granted a lot of times. You know, people think you need a friend there. I think, you know, our relationship is dope because when my dad died, we talked about my dad, and then we could still talk about, you know, you're diving, you're fucking playing tennis. Never in a million years would I picture you playing tennis. So it's cool because we're in different countries. You're always traveling. I'm always traveling. Same thing with all my other friends in Australia and Ecuador and the States. I got one of my real good friends in Texas. I can talk to about these thoughts to certain people. So I began to work with you, man. And whenever I go to bed and I'm having a thought creep up, it's usually on a certain date, right? It's out. Man,
Anniversaries.
Right. Anniversaries. These are triggers. And before I would cry, throw a pity party, just blame everybody, fucked up.
Self-sabotage, self-destruct. Yep.
Whereas, and I see a lot of my friends doing that now, man. A lot of guys that I serve with do that now. And I see their lives, man. I feel bad. But I can't intervene in your life if you don't want to help yourself. That's not my job, you know. But I see where I've come to since seeking for help, since doing this. Things that the government, the army gives us, we just don't take advantage of it, man. Because we don't, like we said, we don't want to be seen as weak. So when these thoughts creep in, man, now I'm like, all right, Damien, get your shit together, bro. If I need to, I will stand up, walk around a little bit in my room. It's kind of dark, you know. I turn a little diffuser on with all these little fucking essential oils. I don't know what the fuck I'm mixing, but it smells good. And it calms me down.
It makes you feel good.
Yeah, it calms me down. I, you know, just probably put some white noise and just think, why am I thinking this? Is it an anniversary? If it's an anniversary, how are his parents, you know, how are Gonzo's parents doing? Am I present in their life? Am I only present in their life when it's their son's anniversary? No. So those things, man, calm me down because in a way, I can bring my friend back. But if I'm not taking care of me, I'm down the drain. There's so many, and not just veterans, bro. I think a lot of people suffer from a lot of mental health. All you got to do now is go on Instagram. And if you're a guy or girl, whatever, you're going to see somebody with a better body than yours. So that could just be enough to fucking get you depressed. And you don't take, you know what I mean? Like, you don't take your mental health to that extent. And if you let your mind play that game and play that role, then you're going to believe you're less than that person. And you're going to believe you don't deserve to be alive. And you're going to believe that, but who am I to judge those people, right? So when they creep up to me, I'm like, nah, not today, dude. I got so much to live for. I got so much to look forward to, man, that I've done so much work on myself that I will not give in to those memories. I will not give in to those nightmares. I will not give in to those bad thoughts because I have a good fucking life, bro. You know, where I'm at right now is dope. I have good friends, health, my family, you know, even with my dad gone, I'm grateful. You know what I mean? Like, the job that I have. So yeah, man, when they pop up, I look at my life. That's all I do. I say, look at all the work you've done. Look at all you've been through. Look at all the people you got the chance to meet. Everyone, even if it's just for a day, that was a cool fucking person, you know? Don't give in to that bad. It's a bad moment. It's not a bad life. It's just a bad moment, man. So I put that shit away. I breathe. You know, sometimes I was so dumb, man. I would start doing push-ups. I'm like, fuck, this is bringing my heart rate up, you idiot. Stop, bro. But then again,
just adding stress on top of stress.
Exactly, which is why I reached out, man, because I was like, oh, I think I got to figure it out. I'm fucking pow, 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 pow. Damn, now I can sleep for real. So help, bro.
Yeah.
When I asked that, and so yeah, when they come up, I'm man, like I always say, man, I'm forever grateful, dude, because I can look at things differently, man. I was able to look at things differently. Even when relationships go south now, man. Okay. You were here to teach me something. Hey, I was there to teach you something. in past relationships. You know, it made me reflect that it was me. So now I can go on to be a better person, to understand that we all have this shit. But if we don't work on it, man, and it's great that you mentioned earlier, you guys are expanding to not just military personnel, that you're expanding to, I think everybody should have, you know, be knowledgeable or cognizant of the Swiss 8 thing, because usually you seek the coach or the program doesn't seek you. So if you have these tools out there for people and you make a note for them, we all go through a wild roller coaster, and our mind, if you can understand how your mind works, if you can understand, you're going to have those bad thoughts, man. You know, there's sometimes that just images pop in my head of fucked up bodies and shit. But then I'm like, hey, that was 10 years, 11 years ago, bro. Let that shit go. Don't let that be your present or your future.
Yes, it was a part of your history. It is a part of, you know, the events that shape the person that you are, but they add to your character. They don't define your character.
Yeah. And once you get that under control, you realize you're just another person here, man. If you do your part, your act of kindness can be onto somebody else, and then that person passes it on to somebody else, and then fucking, it's a beautiful thing, man. Which is why I think social media is nice. If used properly, social media is nice.
Yeah, it's a tool, bro.
Yeah.
Mate, something you just said then brought up something that I heard recently on a podcast or read or something like that. But the guest was saying, you know, the difference between external validation, which you spoke about earlier, where you're filling the void with people, with girls, with alcohol, blah, 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 blah. Like, if you're externally validated, as opposed to internally validated, like internally validated people are those that can go to sleep at night and go, you know, I did the best that I could today, and I ticked the boxes. I ticked the wins off the list. I moved myself in the right direction. I'm comfortable with who I am. I'm stable with my emotions. You know, I can be at my best so that I can help other people be at their best. That's internally validated people. But externally validated people are driven by, you know, those external things. So if you're externally validated and you meet, you know, 10 people, you see 10 people throughout the day, but they're having a shit day and they don't validate you, they don't compliment you, that now fucks you up and affects your day. Right? So externally validated people are constantly like, you know, at the whim of everyone else's emotions.
That was my big thing. My big takeaway from everything has been, it's been good to, one, accept life lessons, stop blaming other people, worked on my insecurities, worked on my flaws, and realizing that there's a lot of shit that I don't know, man.
That's fucking powerful, man.
There's so much, bro. When we talk, I'm like, fuck, dude, I thought I knew that. But you put me over here, shit hits the fan, man. I could be in my truck ready to go in fucking 3 minutes or less. You know what I mean? I could. But that's not life.
Learning how to switch on, switch off.
Exactly. That's not life. When I'm home, I'm good, man. I'm chilling. I'm relaxed. I've learned how to do that, though. I've learned how to do that. I'm still learning, which is why I love this, the asking questions, man. I'm learning. Even in people from different cultures. Ramadan starts April 13th. You know, we have to learn how to adapt. We're in their country. I'm a foreigner here. I'm not a presence of force, and I can't act like an asshole. You know, even though I'm the security element, even though we have, you know, whatever, I still have to be respectful. I still have to be polite. But, you know, when you're a young guy, you're in your early teens, early 20s, you don't give a fuck. You don't think about any of that. You know?
We've all been there.
Yeah, exactly. Your mind's elsewhere. You think you know. So you hit our age, and you're like, damn. That's the saying that everybody has. I could go back with what I know now. My life would be totally different. But I'm good where I'm at, man. I'm glad I seeked out. I'm glad I reached out. I'm glad we never lost touch. Even with the people at Tiger, man, I talk to a few once in a while, and it's cool because I see where their life is at, man. If they seem happy, but even though they seem happy, I also understand that they've also had shit days. So I'm 100% content with this wild fucking journey from getting blown up, shot at, and being a cop and running after people and fucking to now, which I'm in the same element as I was. It's just a lot more calm. You know, we're not during conflict all the time, or rarely any conflict, to be honest with you. The job just sounds good on paper, but it is an important role. So,
but there's the thing with that is like, yes, you might not be fucking in troops in contact every day, but there's always the potential for that to happen. So you always need to be on high alert. You need to be fucking ready for when the shit does hit the fan, because that's where issues start coming in, is where people get complacent and they're like, oh, well, this is just how it is. It's a pretty cruisy job, blah, blah, blah. And yes, it might be cruisy at times, but there's going to be some stage where you need to be able to fucking switch that warrior mindset on.
Exactly. You got to learn how to, you can't be that guy all the time. You know, nobody wants to be around the guy that lives in his past and talks about, oh, when I used to be in the army. Cool story, bro. It's good to seek. It's good to seek help, man. Like I said, dude, being here, working here, having this talk with you, it's crazy because I always implement what I learn, man. I've gotten to the point where I'm in a field that requires me to be humble. I'm in a field that doesn't require me to be an arrogant asshole. And this teaches you that, how you treat yourself, what you do with you. Are you disciplined enough to put your phone away for a few hours a day? Are you disciplined enough to eat what's right for you most of the time? That's how you treat you, man. That's what people say, self-love, self-care, that bullshit. You got to show that. It's easy to say I love you. It's hard to show that shit. So once you show it,
That's a great point, man. People say self-love, self-care. I fucking give myself whatever I want. And I was like, that's not self-love. That's not self-care. That's self-indulgence. Yeah. You know, self-love, self-care is fucking like restricting the things that are fucking easy and giving yourself a little bit of adversity every now and again, whether it's through training or whether it's through fasting or whether it's through digital detoxes or removing, those fucking nice, comfortable things in your life for a period of time, so that when you do start using those things again, you fucking appreciate it and you're grateful for it. That is self-love. That is self-care in my mind. The next guest is Mark Teakle, who was one of my online clients for a period of time. We're still in contact to this day. Midway through last year, he actually wrote me an incredible testimonial, which I put into a standalone episode titled "This Stopped Me in My Tracks," which I'll have linked in the show notes, that basically told me that I'd saved his life, and he was really grateful for, finding my content, finding the podcast, etc. And I'm just extremely grateful for him entrusting me in the process to guide him to bettering his life. So now I'm going to share the conversation that I had with him around journaling and how the tools that we worked through, how he implemented those tools and principles throughout the rest of his life.
I also implemented a bit more journal writing because I felt that that was a good way for me just to write things down. Because there's only one thing, Sean, that I did nearly go a little bit back on, and you picked up, and that's why I fucking love you. One thing I nearly went back on was the one pattern of mine I've noticed, and this is from journaling. One pattern of mine I've noticed is when things go bad, I tend to hide away a little bit and not talk. And that's just my way of dealing with it. And that's okay relatively, but it's not healthy at the same time. And you picked up straight away on that. And actually it was only you and my missus, only two people. No one else kind of picked up on it. But I think speaking with you straight away at least got me to express some sort of feelings and get some emotion out. And then I just wrote the rest down. I just found that was pretty, therapeutic, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that was going to be my next question, man, was, how do you feel when you're writing things down? How long have you been journaling for first? how do you feel when you start writing things down? You did say it's therapeutic, right?
100%. And it's putting it's putting the words into action also as well. I mean, I write things down. Before, I had all these values in my head and my goals in my head, but I never used to put pen to paper with it. And I think just the visual aspect when you actually, like, I mean, I'm writing stuff down all the time, you know, and I never used to until I met you actually. And I think just looking at it, looking at the words, is something powerful about it. And it's really hard to explain that to someone. The only way I can tell someone is to give it a try. You just got to give it a shot and then you'll understand, you know. But I think looking at them words, and then I might, like, for example, I had a look over some stuff I wrote the other day, just today from a few days ago. And it also gave me a bit of a benchmark to see I've actually improved just in the last couple of days, because I was like, shit, some of them things I wrote down were a bit dark. And then not dark, but they were just a little bit dark. And then I had a look at it and I don't feel as dark like that as I did just a couple of days. So it's a good gauge. It shows me that I'm moving forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
And going back to writing things down, I think the powerful thing about this is that's the first action step, right? Like, your thoughts are always, I think we have like 60, 70,000 thoughts come into our brain every single day as a human being. So, you know, we can't process all of those things. So for me, like, I'm constantly writing as well, man. Like, I've got my notepad here, jotting down things that you're saying so I can come back to it and touch on. But, you know, I've got my boards right in front of me where I'm writing down like what I do on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I've got my monthly focus. Then I've got my weekly focus. Then I've got my personal goals, my top priority, my errands, my work goals, my top priority, my errands. And then on the other whiteboard, I've got, I've broken up my whiteboard into quadrants, and the top left quadrant is urgent and important, and then the next quadrant is important but not urgent. The bottom quadrant is not important but urgent, and then not urgent, not important, right? And like, that's what I'm doing every single day. I'm jotting things down. I'm doing it at the start of the week, and then I'm going back and I'm reviewing, man, and going, all right, how much of that shit did I get done?
Yep.
How many of those wins did I tick off the list? And I think writing things down takes things from being a thought into becoming action, because that is literally the first action step is, hey, I've got this rattling around in my brain. I'm going to do a little brain dump. I'm going to get it out of my mind. I'm going to put it on paper. That's the first action step, man. And once you take that first action step, it's much easier to then take that second action step. And it's also much easier to start organizing things, because you're looking at it and you're like, all right, well, this is, again, tying back into your hierarchy of value. You're looking at everything you've just jotted down, and then you're looking at your values and you're going, where does this fit in? All right, this fits in here, this fits in here, this fits in here, this fits in here. Where can I slot that into my day? Where can I slot that into my week? And something you said before about the meditation is like, yes, you were sleeping in a little bit longer, going to bed a little bit earlier. And you actually said, unfortunately. I was like, man, that's fucking brilliant. That's a great adjustment, right? You're not getting up and doing your training. Your body needs that sleep. You know, your sleep's probably going to be a little bit broken because your mind's going to be all over the place. And this is where, again, writing things down before bed, do a brain dump, then do some meditation. That's going to bring you back into that parasympathetic state, allow you to get to sleep a little bit better. And then you typically have a better sleep, a little bit longer sleep. When your body's under stress, man, you need that extra recovery, right? Then, you know, you're not going through your full meditative practice, but you're still getting some form of meditation is in, because you know how important it is. That meditation, that focused meditation where you're focusing on your breath or you're focusing on your thoughts or whatever your target is for that meditative practice, is driving attention, which then carries over into everything else that you're doing in your day.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, that's something, a point that I wanted to also bring up as well, which I've done a bit differently. Because usually my meditation, when I do that, I actually like to put some candles out, and I have a nice little, have my little cushion that I sit on, and I put some guided meditation music on. That's just how I like to do it. But what I did to adjust things around in the last week is what you sort of do. I was doing it in the car when I was driving, which I'd never really sort of done before, and I can tell 100% how much difference it makes because I've got a smartwatch. So I looked at my my heart rate, and my goodness, like, I mean, I know this stuff. You've taught me this stuff before, but I just sort of refining that. And I also feel as well, right, just going back to the writing things down, is I believe that's made a big impact on my anxiety, because I think when I haven't written things down, everything just feels like it's so clustered in my head, and I can't, like you said, I can't start. I don't have a starting point anywhere. So I think from an anxiety point of view,
it's just a jumble when it's like it's 70,000 thoughts in your fucking head. Like that's all. It's all jumbled up, man. It's a fucking jigsaw puzzle with pieces all over the place, right?
Yep.
The point of writing things down is to start laying those jigsaw pieces out and then putting them where they go.
Yep.
And some things you're going to action straight away, and other things you're like, okay, that's not. Again, that's important, but it's not urgent. I can put that off for a month. And it's just literally like organizing your thoughts, man. It's taking those thoughts, putting it on paper, and then being able to like slot them in, whether that's, I need to do this today, I need to do this week, I need to do this month, I need to do this by the end of this year.
Yep.
Which gives you clarity, right? Which then reduces anxiety.
It's amazing the difference it makes, and it's funny because it's just how you. I've joked around with you about this so many times. It's simple, but only once you explain it, it seems simple after that, But before you explain that, and I mean, I look at this now and I'm like, Jesus, I try not to think I've wasted years, because it's built me to who I am today, and that's the way I try to look at it, right? But I do kick myself a little bit, going, Jesus, I wish I had have learnt this shit a long time ago, and it would have saved me a lot of time.
100%, bro.
Yeah.
And this is why I coach the way that I coach, right? It's because I've fucking learnt all these things the hard way myself, right? Or I've picked up on things that all of my clients are going through, man. And that's why I started the podcast, to get this information out to people, to say, hey, you know what? You can like organize your life in a manner that's going to allow you to decrease anxiety, depression, look forward to, putting processes in place on a day-to-day basis that's going to get you living the fucking life that you want, man. And it's not like a magic pill. You don't just start doing one thing and it's like fixes everything, right? Like, how long have we been working together?
Yeah, that's right. That's very true. And I think also as well is I've noticed the thing as well is how not interchange, I'm trying to think of the word, how much this applies to different aspects. So it applies to my training, and then it also applies to my personal life, and then I can switch these principles around to my work life as well, because that's something that I've noticed massively in the last 2 weeks. Even though I've been going through all this shit, the work's been pretty stressful, but I've had a lot of good shit happen at work, and my boss even pulled me aside and went, mate, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. Because I kind of haven't told him what's been going on in my personal life, because I'm trying to keep it a bit separate, if you know what I mean.
Of course.
But the results are coming in work-wise. So it doesn't – I think when I first started with you, it was all revolved around training for me at the very start. That's what I had in my head, not realizing that these principles, they're relatable to all other aspects. So that's what I try to do now, Sean. I try to adapt this the best I can, given the different situations and the different pillars I got going on in my life at the same time.
Next up is Scott Donnelly, who is a personal trainer himself. He has his own business. He works with a number of his own clients. So he reached out to me and wanted to come on board as a mentee in somewhat of a mentor program. So I basically brought him on as an online client, but taught him what he needed to know to then be able to pass on to his clients. And something that we spoke about that most listeners of the podcast will understand is heart rate variability. And we discussed how he uses heart rate variability to then adjust and make decisions to his day-to-day in regards to training, nutrition, stress management, sleep hygiene, etc., etc. Enjoy.
I was just a trainer. I wasn't a coach, and it was like simply just, these are the exercises. I'm going to give you a sweat out. And now it's just changed my whole philosophy. And especially like coming to you, the big thing for me now is just the HRV, man. That's like we've been speaking about it for weeks, but it's such a game changer. And the more I go into it, the more I do it every day, the more I learn about it, you know, and the more I learn about my body, like, you know, for example, this week didn't feel that great, mate. I'll tell you what, once you hit 30, it's just downhill. I swear to God, I'm getting sick. Things are just happening left, right, and center. Like, it just never happened to me before. But
but
anyway,
dude, like, let's talk about that for a second, because like, why, you know, you go, oh, that never happened to me before. Like, dude, when you're like 18, 19, 20, you like going out and getting fucked up on the weekends. Like, you're working throughout the week. Like, you're spending all your money. Like, you've got no cares in the world, bro. You don't have a mortgage. You don't have a car. You don't have fucking family and like kids and wife and shit to look after, bro. Like, your cares are fucking zero. Your fucks are zero, right? As you get older, man, like, you start adding these things to your life, bro, and life does get more and more complicated, right? So we need to try and minimize those complications and those stresses, man. And this is where, you know, paying attention to your waking heart rate, your blood pressure, your heart rate variability, like, comes into play, man. Because then you're like, all right, cool. I've got all this shit going on in my life. That's all stress, man. And that fucking stress adds up. And if I'm not dealing with it, then, and I'm going on training after I've had a hard day at work, and I'm, you know, burning the candle at both ends, and I'm not getting enough sleep, and my nutrition's not 100% on point, and, you know, I'm not focusing on recovery and stress management and shit, like, you know, then I'm going to get sick. Then I'm going to start picking up injuries and things like that, because your body can only take so much stress. So that's a great point, mate. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, mate,
what are some of the things you've picked up on in the last couple of weeks with the HRV? Because it is something that we've been touching on every single time, like every coaching call.
Yeah, no, for me, like, it was, I guess, one, getting the understanding of it, but now that I got the understanding, it really does tell you before, like, you get sick. Like, I've been getting sick a lot recently, and I don't really think I've been stressing too much, but you know, there's certain aspects of things that I do think about, going to work, and I probably haven't been eating as good as I normally should. But like, for me, before I was getting sick, it would tell me, and then literally the next day, I'd be sick. And like, one for me this week was, mate, I just didn't feel right for about 2 days, and I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm just going to have it off. And then there was one day where I just really didn't feel right, mate. Normally I get up, I'm ready to go, I'll do whatever. Like, you know, if I've got tasks and things like to do, I'll be on it to get it done. I just didn't even feel like doing that. I just didn't even want to get outside. And I was like, you know, like, I need to just have a full day of rest. The next day I was up about 7 on my morning readiness, which wasn't too bad, but I was still on the parasympathetic side. And that's what it was all week. And basically saying, hey, mate, you need to have a rest. We're forcing you to have a rest here, because you haven't been doing the right things in order to get yourself back up to baseline. And then this morning, I woke up, took my readiness. It said 10, ready to go. Felt great. Had a good session. All day I've been unreal. But for the whole week, it wasn't just my physical ability. It was my mental and my mood, mate. And like, you know, and that was going into just being able to socialize with people. Like, when my mood's down and I'm not feeling right, I don't really want to speak to people. I'm more happy just in myself, you know, just doing the job on my own. But today I was more than happy just running around being my normal self, like being that joker, because I was good. And it gave me that data to say that. And in the days prior, it gave me the data to say, hey, you're not right. And that's exactly why I felt that way. So like, rather than me going, hey, like, something's wrong with me, why am I, you know, is there something mentally not wrong with me? No, it's just because my body's telling me, hey, you need to rest so that you can be optimal in all facets of life, you know, whether that's physical, whether that's mental, all of it, if that makes sense to you, mate.
Absolutely, mate. I love that, man. I love that. And you know, that data it's gold, man. Like, the numbers don't lie, right? You know, you can, and this is why like, majority of my clients, like, I get them tracking these data points, right? Like, these basic health markers, because, you know, if you go to a doctor, man, what's the first thing a doctor does? Any GP, right? They're going to fucking typically take your pulse rate and your blood pressure, right? And it's like, oh, your blood pressure's high. Why is that? And then they start asking, well, they don't ask questions. They go, take this pill.
Yeah, basically.
But, you know, the functional medicine is becoming more and more prominent, and functional medicine practitioners, they look at these numbers and they go, oh, your blood pressure is a little bit high. What could that be pointing to? That's a symptom of something, right? That's your body telling you something. All right, what's going on? And then we start asking questions around, you know, how's your sleep? How's your nutrition? How's your training? How's your stress management? How's your hydration levels? Like, Are you deficient in any micronutrients? Are you getting enough energy in? How much sunshine are you getting? Blah, 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 blah. Like, those numbers are literally fucking telling you that something's up, man. And when you have that data, then it gives you the information to then make an informed decision on how you're going to conduct yourself that day in terms of all of those things. And as you said, man, your HRV is a little bit low. You're in a parasympathetic state. Your body's under stress. Sweet. Have a little bit of an extra sleep in. Get to bed a little bit earlier. Make sure that you prioritize, hydration and good quality nutrition so you can give your body the nutrients it requires to get back to homeostasis or baseline.
Exactly. And you need that data to know that, hey, I need to start eating better. I need to rest more. Whereas before, mate, I used to just think, oh, I've just been weak today, and I'd get the shits with myself as a young bloke, like you go in, then I couldn't bench what I did the week before. But it's because my body was trying to tell me something. But until you know that, till you have an understanding of that, and until you get the data, you don't know what to do about it. It's like I'm a truck mechanic by trade, right? So, if an engine sounds like there's something wrong with it, I'll listen to it. And okay, I sort of know some certain things, but until you plug it in, sometimes you need to plug it in. Everything's electronic these days, and it gives you the data of, hey, this cylinder's not firing properly. So then you know where to go to. It's the same sort of a thing with the body, and like using the HRV as the markers that we can use, but we don't use them. We don't have the understanding of it. So as much as I've been in a training my whole life, I've only just figured this out now, and I'm almost 30. So if I'd have known this 10 years ago, would have been, life changing. But for me now, it's probably a good time because this is the time now, as I've said to you, I'm starting to get sick a bit more. I'm starting to get these little injuries. So by having this data now, I can start to adjust my way of training, whether that's, going hard at it one day, then the next day having to teeter off that, because I know, hey, if I do 2 or 3 days in a row, I know I'm going to get sick. It's just the way my body's working at the moment, or is it that way because I'm not, getting the right nutrients and vitamins in? I'm pretty good with my diet, but I might be lacking in something that I don't know. And if it keeps happening, I've got the data to go, okay, let's change this up. Then I, train a bit harder. I don't get sick as often. Hey, that was the thing that I needed to do or adjust, So yeah, that's been the big game changer, mate, for me. And the biggest takeout. Yeah.
And there we have it, guys. The second episode of the Live Train Perform podcast, done and dusted for 2022. I want to shout out to my clients, Damien, Mark, and Scott, for allowing me to record those episodes and share it with podcast listeners for your listening pleasure. Final point before I sign off is that I did create a Facebook forum last year for podcast listeners. A number of guests, a number of people I've interviewed, people in the health and fitness industry are part of the forum, so you guys can ask them questions. I get my content for Q&A sessions. I share other content, private content, etc., in that forum. So all you need to do to get into the forum is leave me a 5-star rating and review, take a screenshot of that and send it to my Instagram at coach_Kobes, Kobes. Then go onto Facebook, search for Live Train Perform, request access, answer the questions, and I will provide you access there. Right now, I'm only allowing people that are leaving me a 5-star rating and review in, but in the future, whilst I build out the next phase of my business over the next couple of months, I'm going to start requesting for payment to get into that forum. So anyone that's in that forum will basically be grandfathered in before I start asking for payment to get in there. And people in that forum will also get discounts on my new training programs and ebooks and things like that I'm building out over the next couple of months. So watch your space. 5-star ratings and reviews are much appreciated, guys. If you share it on your stories, please make sure you tag me so I can share it as well. Much love. Peace.